The God of the gaps argument is often used by atheists, yet it is an argument that collapses in on itself. We begin our journey in the late 19th century with Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche made the audacious claim that God is dead in his 1883 book, Thus Spoke Zarathustra. In the same book, he claimed, "Into every gap they put their delusion, their stopgap, which they called God." This is the seed of what is known as the God of the gaps argument. The premise? Atheists suggest that proponents of intelligent design, and theists in general, are simply filling the gaps in our scientific knowledge with the concept of a divine being. Yet Stephen Meyer, a philosophy of science scholar from Cambridge, challenges this claim. He states, "A God of the gaps argument is an argument that has a formal logical structure that in logic is known as a argument from ignorance. It is an informal fallacy." He explains that arguments from ignorance often follow a particular pattern. First, cause A is deemed insufficient to produce effect X. Then cause B is assumed to have produced effect X. However, Meyer asserts that intelligent design does not follow this pattern of argument from ignorance. Rather, it argues from our understanding of cause and effect in the world. He states, that is not how we are arguing when we make the case for intelligent design, because we are adding an additional premise. Specifically, he states, we are saying that 1. Various kinds of natural processes are not sufficient to produce new functional information, specifically the digital code that is stored in the DNA molecule. 2. We do know of a cause that does produce information. We have independent evidence that intelligent agency, that mind, can create information. Meyer goes on, so when we infer an intelligent agent as having acted in the past based on the digital code stored in the macromolecules of life, we are not arguing from our ignorance. We are arguing from our knowledge of cause and effect in the world. Moreover, the atheist himself is guilty of making the same exact argument from ignorance that he accuses theists of making. Namely, the atheist is guilty of making naturalism of the gaps style arguments in order to cover up his own ignorance. Here is a hypothetical question and answer session with an atheist to illustrate this point. How did the universe originate? Atheist: we don't know, but someday we hope to find a naturalistic explanation. How did the finely tuned laws of nature originate? Atheist: we don't know, but someday we hope to find a naturalistic explanation. How does the quantum wave collapse? Atheist: we don't know, but someday we hope to find a naturalistic explanation. How did life originate? Atheist: we don't know, but someday we hope to find a naturalistic explanation. How did consciousness originate? Atheist: we don't know, but someday we hope to find a naturalistic explanation. And on it goes with the atheist. To paraphrase Friedrich Nietzsche, into every gap they put their delusion, their stopgap, which they called naturalism. In fact, contrary to what atheists believe, there is simply nothing within the universe that has ever been explained in completely naturalistic terms. As John Lennox noted, God is not a God of the gaps, he is God of the whole show. As a prime example of this, atheists often speak of the law of gravity as if it has been explained completely naturalistically. Yet the law of gravity has certainly not been explained naturalistically. As physicist Paul Davies points out, physical processes, however violent or complex, are thought to have absolutely no effect on the laws. There is thus a curious asymmetry. Physical processes depend on laws, but the laws do not depend on physical processes. Saying that laws do not depend on physical processes is another way of saying that laws cannot be explained by physical processes. Again, contrary to what atheists believe, there is simply nothing that has ever been explained completely naturalistically in the universe. Neurosurgeon Michael Egnor, in his refutation of the divine hiddenness argument, states, goes a step further. He shows that every change in nature proves his existence. Every cause in nature proves his existence. Everything that exists in nature proves his existence. Every degree of perfection in nature proves his existence. Every manifestation of natural design proves his existence. Every realization of possibility in nature proves his existence. Every manifestation of organization in nature proves his existence. Every abstract concept proves his existence. And every twinge of human conscience proves his existence. In the same article, Dr. Egnor goes on to state, Natural science provides massive evidence for his existence as well. The Big Bang, the creation of the universe from nothing in an immense primordial flash of light, is a remarkable confirmation of the beginning of the book of Genesis. Astrophysicists have discovered dozens of physical forces and properties in the universe that must have very specific values to permit human life. The DNA in living things is an actual code, in every meaningful sense, like a computer code with letters and words, grammar and phrases, sentences and punctuation. And life form's intracellular metabolism is run by an astonishingly intricate and elegant system of biological nanotechnology. So my question to atheists who endorse the divine hiddenness argument against God's existence is this: what is it exactly about God's existence that you still consider hidden? So thus, the God of the gaps argument from atheists, especially in arguments concerning intelligent design, is not an argument from ignorance about what we don't know. Rather, intelligent design proponents are arguing from what we do know. Namely, we know that intelligent minds can and do routinely create information. Whereas, on the other hand, we have no evidence whatsoever that unguided material processes can create information. Moreover, the atheists' heavy reliance on naturalism of the gaps style arguments does indeed turn out to truly be our argument from ignorance. The very same argument that he falsely accused the intelligent design proponent of being guilty of in the first place. In conclusion, the God of the gaps argument from atheists collapses in on itself. And when examining the scientific evidence, and, to repeat John Lennox, we find that God is not a God of the gaps, he is God of the whole show.